Today we're doing section 4.4 day 3, and again, kind of a continuation of yesterday's lesson. We're just going to kind of step up the difficulty just a hair. So for our first example, it says given cosecant of theta is equal to -4 and tangent of theta is greater than 0. And they want us to find the exact values of sine of theta and secant of theta. So we know cosecant is r over y. So we definitely need to make this look like a fraction, so when it's a whole number, we're going to assume that it's over 1. Now, these are actually sometimes a little bit easier. So in terms of x, y, and r represents a radius, which is a distance. So the negative can never be on a radius value. So my radius value has to be the 4, where my y value will have to be the -1, because 4 divided by -1 ultimately ends up being -4. So a little bit easier in that sense. The only other thing that you have to think about is our quadrant. So we know nothing about x, so I need to figure out if x is going to be positive or negative. So tangent of theta has to be greater than 0. So tangent has to be positive. So I know tangent is positive in quadrants 1 and 3. And then I know cosecant is negative, and cosecant goes with sine. Sine's positive in quadrants 1 and 2. So sine or cosecant would be negative in 3 and 4. So we're in quadrant 4, which means x has to be negative. Now, other way to think about this is if you know the y value is negative, the only way tangent's going to end up being positive is that if x is negative as well. So that's kind of your other school of thought that you can do. Still need to find the x value though. So I have x squared plus -1 squared equals r squared. So I have x squared plus 1 equals 16. Subtract that over. We get 15 here. So my x value is the square root of 15. However, you determined it has to be negative. So notice this formula is never going to give it to you negative. You have to do that part on your own. All right, so now that I have established x, y, and r, I just have to set up the trig function. So sine is y over r, so -1 over 4. Call it a day. Secant is going to be r over my x value. We rationalize. I'm just going to put the negative in neutral territory. We get 4 root 15 over 15. Okay, so that's all for that one. Let's try another one. Given cosecant is equal to -2/3 and tangent has to be positive, find the values of sine and tangent. So again, we're going to start by writing out x equals, y equals, and r equals. I know cosecant is r over y. So I know the r has to be the +2 and the y has to be the -3. Again, just like last problem, in order for tangent to be positive, x and y will both have to be negative. So let's go ahead and find our r value. Equals 2 squared. So you know what? Looks like I changed this problem. Alright, we're going to do a quick little erase. Hope you realized my mistake before you got too far. So it seems like I wrote the problem down wrong. So that would help if I wrote it correctly. So this is supposed to say cosine. Alright, now we're back. So cosine is x over r. So x is -2, r is +3. Again, for tangent to be positive, x and y both have to be negative. So I was still right in saying that. So now let's find our correct value. And I hope you caught my mistake before me. Alright, so I have 4 plus y squared equals 9. Subtract that 4 over. I have y squared equals 5. So my y value is going to be the negative square root of 5. Now that I've established those, let's finish the problem up. So sine is going to be negative root 5 over 3. Tangent is y over x, so negative root 5 over negative 2. I would expect you to cancel out those negatives, but there's nothing else you can do there. So go ahead and try the practice problem. Make sure you input your answer on the video.